The first situation we need to understand is that Flávio Bolsonaro presents himself as an anti-establishment candidate. Why does he do that, Andrea Gonçalves? Because Lula is the president. So people associate Lula with the system. That's why Flávio positions himself as anti-system, to create a contrast and say that he's different, say that he's better, say that he can make changes and so on. But it's important for you to understand that Flávio is not anti-system at all. In fact, he's been feeding at the public trough since his very first job. He got into politics just like Bolsonaro, just like Eduardo Bolsonaro, just like Carlos Bolsonaro, and they all became politicians, professional politicians. And they've been receiving money from public funds since their very first job, both as candidates and once elected. So there's nothing anti-establishment about it. They live off public money. Just so you have an idea, Carlos Bolsonaro. Carlos Bolsonaro currently holds no office. He resigned from the position of city councilor he held in Rio de Janeiro and is now a candidate for the Senate in Santa Catarina. But let me ask you, did he stop receiving Andrea Gonçalves' public salary, public money? No. Now he's receiving from the PL, from the electoral fund, which Flávio Bolsonaro even voted in favor of increasing almost 5 billion reais. And now the PL pays a salary of 39,000 reais to Carlos Bolsonaro, who continues to feed at the Senate trough. So the first thing you need to get into your head, if there's anyone here who's anti-system, it's you and me who don't receive public money. We don't receive it because they do receive it. The Bolsonaro family feeds off the republic. Michelle Bolsonaro. No, Andrea Gonçalves, Michelle Bolsonaro is not the system, no. Michelle Bolsonaro has a salary of 40,000 reais paid with public money from the PL, from the electoral fund. So from the electoral fund, which I reiterate, both Flávio Bolsonaro and Eduardo Bolsonaro voted in favor of increasing the electoral fund in 2024. And then, so nobody is anti-system. Lula is the president of the republic, and obviously he's part of the public administration system. And the Bolsonaro family is also part of the system. They never left the field of public administration, and they were always paid with public money. The first thing that's important for us to make very clear, shall we take a look at this survey? Look here. Atlas Intel. By Atlas Intel. In the first round, Lula would win, right? According to this poll, with 46.6% of the votes. In second place would be Flávio Bolsonaro with 39.7% of the votes. They included Tarcísio there, but they didn't even need to because he's not a candidate, right, guys? And it's interesting who came in third. Look who showed up in third place in this poll. Renan Santos from Missão, from the former MBL. Ronaldo Caiado in this poll dropped, ended up behind Renando Santos. And Romeo Zema behind Caiado. Right? Andrea Gonçalves, but this Renando Santos, did he manage in yesterday's poll? Did he manage to surpass Ronaldo Caiado? He did. So Ronaldo Caiado, he thinks that people are, naive. That situation he's talking about, that he sold the rare earths from Goiás, from Minas Sul to the United States and so on. I've already told you about this. That's just a story to fool people. Right? He entered into a memorandum of understanding, and it depends on the federal government. Rare earths are a matter of sovereignty. And the only one with the authority to negotiate, to handle this kind of situation is the federal government, not the state. Assets, right? Mineral assets, right? Everything that's underground, all of that belongs to whom? The federal government. I explained it to you in great detail last Friday. I even gave you the example. If you suddenly find gold in your backyard, if you find oil, If you find, who knows, rare earth in your backyard, you have to ask the government for authorization. You will get priority for the exploration concession. You will get rich, but the owner of it is the government. And Ronaldo Caiado said that just to get attention, to attack the Lula government, to show up and to be relevant, because unfortunately it's incredible, right? It's just too interesting. Because this corporate media, those big players, right? They really go after us. Who are the alternative media, right? Here on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, for example, they really go after us. But let me tell you something. This liberal corporate media, for God's sake, is putting the spotlight on things that aren't true. And the worst part is, you know what? They don't clarify anything. Then that annoying person goes there and says they sold, they negotiated, they made the contract, they did it and agreed. It happened and nobody denies it. But not here. Here I told you that contract doesn't exist. That's just something to fool people, to sweet talk the crowd and put them to sleep, because only the federal government can do that. And he did that thinking he would gain political capital from it, Caiado. And here's the answer. He lost his political capital. First, because people aren't stupid. Second, because we're here to clarify things. And third, the herd didn't support him. Because the herd loves to betray the country.
Right, Eduardo Bolsonaro?
Right, Flávio Bolsonaro. Flávio said he was going to give the rare earths to the United States at the CPEC event in the United States. We saw it. Now Ronaldo Caiado, they didn't really like what Ronaldo Caiado did. So Ronaldo Caiado ended up losing political capital over it. Why? Because I've already told you something and I'll repeat it. People put up with a lot. But you can't make deals with a traitor to the country. You can't negotiate. That's why we always say and repeat, PIX is ours. Rare earths are ours. Do we have problems? Yes, we do. We solve them. Or are you going to let your neighbor come into your house to solve your house's problems? Oh, for God's sake, folks. So that's the situation. I think that's already a picture of it. It's going downhill because this Renan dos Santos, he's hitting hard, but he has a stance. For example, yesterday I gave an interview to UOL and he went and really criticized Flávio and said, look, my government plan has already been registered, and Flávio said he won't release his plan because otherwise he'll lose votes. Why is that? Because he's going to go after the worker, the retiree, the pensioner, and he's hiding his intentions. My plan is already registered. For anyone who wants to know, for anyone who wants to see, I don't have anything to hide. But Flávio is hiding his intentions. So he's going after Ronaldo Caiado and Flávio Bolsonaro. Because I want you to see the pattern here. Look, this is the first poll from yesterday from Atlas Intel. I want you to catch the pattern. What's the pattern, Andrea Gonçalves? This fight is going to play out on two fronts. I'll share the other polls, but here's my understanding first. This election fight is going to unfold on two fronts. First, who will make it to the second round to take Lula down? And it's going to be a fight. It's going to be, look, and for what, Andrea? To attack Flávio Bolsonaro. Because Flávio is the main one here with the possibility of going to the second round. So they're going to have to go hard on Flávio Bolsonaro because they have to take votes away from Flávio Bolsonaro. Because these people here, look, Tarcílio de Freitas, who's out, I don't even know why they put him in, Renan dos Santos, Ronaldo Caiado, Romeu Zema, they don't take votes away from Lula. They don't. Who are they going to take votes from? From themselves. Right with right, far right with far right. So the fight will be to take votes away from Flávio Bolsonaro to see if they can make it to the second round. And the one who has already figured this out very clearly, who's going all in, is exactly the one who went up in this poll. Mainly who? Renan Santos. Because Renan Santos is hitting Flávio Bolsonaro hard. He's hitting hard. It almost seems like he's the Bolsonaro supporter because he took charge and is going after him. So, whoever figures this out, the tendency is to rise in the polls. What's the code, Andrea Gonçalves? The fight is to make it to the second round. And there's no point in attacking Lula because these right-wing folks here can't take votes from Lula. Who can they take votes from? From the second place right now, which is Flávio. So who should they attack? They have to go hard on Flávio Bolsonaro. Put it there. Put it up. There's another angle here too, so I'm not sure if you're getting it. I'll tell you about the other code in a bit. What I'm explaining to you is part of that other strategy. Put it there. Go hard on Flávio Bolsonaro. So the first part of the strategy is this. You have to make it to the second round. These people here have to go after Flávio to have a chance to make it to the second round because they don't take votes away from Lula. But there's a catch. Here's where the second code comes in. Put it up. Go hard on Flávio. What's up, Andrea Gonçalves? If these people here are right-wing because for the left it's just Lula, for progressives it's just Lula, if these right-wing people here do a good job, if they do a good job, if they go all out against Flávio, not just stay like that, go all out, there's a chance of the second situation happening. What is it? See if anyone has already gotten the code. Comment below. See if you've already gotten the code. Which one is it? Lula wins in the first round. Andrea Gonçalves, Andrea Gonçalves, Andrea Gonçalves.
Lula wins in the first round.
Notice that with 4 more percentage points here for Lula, Lula wins in the first round. 50% plus 1 wins in the first round. That's why I told you. We have to go hard on Flávio. Who? These very people here on the right and the far right? Because the story goes like this. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. If these people here don't go after Flávio, they don't stand a chance of making it to the second round. Why? Because they don't take votes away from Lula, they take votes away from Flávio. So they have to go hard against the candidate in second place to see if they have a chance to make it to the second round. But there's a catch. Depending on the situation, if they attack Flávio too much, Flávio drops so much that Lula goes up a bit more. And since the numbers are very high here, 46, 48%, if Lula gets a few more percentage points, he wins in the first round. That's the situation. Then you say Andrea Gonçalves, but really, Andrea Gonçalves, do you actually see a chance for Lula to win in the first round? I do. And honestly, what I'm about to tell you is very serious and very grave. Honestly, it's actually easier for Lula to win in the first round than to win in the second. Andrea, are you crazy? I'm not crazy. That's why it's important for the progressive camp to have the right strategy. I'll repeat what I said, and I'll explain what I said to you, why I think this way. It's easier for Lula to win in the first round. It's easier for Lula to win in the first round than in the second round. That's why we have to adopt this strategy here. Look, of support. Go on, Renan. Tear into him. Go, Caiado. Go all out, Caiado. Go after Flávio. Hey, Romo Zema, your opponent isn't Lula. Romo Zema, your opponent is Flavinho Rachadinha. Go after him. That has to be our strategy. It's easier for Lula to win in the first round than the second. Why, Andrea? Because in the second round, that's when the game changes. If any of these here, look, from the far right or the right, make it to the second round, what's the likely outcome? Everyone unites behind the right-wing candidate, leaving Lula isolated. Nevertheless, we know that Lula is no fool either. Obviously, Lula is already working on this too, anticipating this situation so he doesn't lose support in the second round if there is one. I know that. For example, Simone Tebet, who was a candidate in the last election from the MDB. And instead of supporting the right-wing side, which in this case was Bolsonaro, Simon Tebet supported the progressive camp. Of course, Lula has to be working on that now as well. But I'm saying, in general, the tendency is that these people here who didn't make it to the second round, if there is a second round, will support. Not the left-wing candidate, not the progressive one, which is Lula, but someone similar to them. That's why Lula has an advantage. If he goes to the second round, even with this setup, what's the advantage? He controls the machine. What does the machine at his disposal mean, Andrea Gonçalves? Positions. He has positions, he has ministries, right? For example, the PSD, Gilberto Kassab's PSD, which is the party fielding the candidate here, Ronaldo Caiado. The PSD has positions in Lula's government, even ministries. Then you might say, no, Andrea, but the guy left, there were 3 ministries. They left, they stepped down to run in the election. But the whole team there, the staff, the electoral team, and the advisors are still theirs, from the PSD, from Gilberto Kassab. So, many from the PSD will not support Ronaldo Caiado, but will continue to support Lula, especially because Gilberto Kassab, president of the PSD, is not going to be crazy enough to force everyone to support their candidate, Ronaldo Caiado. He will let whoever wants to support do so, because there are mayors who support Lula. There are PSD governors who support Lula and who will not support Ronaldo Caiado. Do you understand? So Lula has to be working on this situation for a possible second round. He has to be working on it, but mainly Lula has to focus on the first round. The numbers are very high, 46%, 47%, only 4 percentage points away from not having a second round. So we have to go hard on this. And these people here can help by doing what? Going after the second place candidate so there won't be a second round. Did you get the point? So many times I say some things here and then someone comes and criticizes me. Why, Andrea Gonçalves? He didn't get the point. He didn't get the point. It's easier for Lula to win in the first round than in the second. So we need to have a target, which is whoever is in the second round, whoever is in second place, Flávio Bolsonaro. It's not only us who have to go after him. This very group here, look, from the right especially, has to go hard on Flávio. Renan, go all out, my dear. And I hope you got the hint. Did you get it, sweetheart? So this is the setup here. Look, from Atlas Intel, Lula wins in the first round with a comfortable percentage of votes compared to Flávio. And in this setup, there's a second round, and Lula also wins in the second round. Okay, the other candidates are way behind. Exactly because the margins are very high, and the chance of winning in the first round is real. It's real. Let's take a look at this second one here. This second poll here is from Quest, right? We showed Atlas Intel, and this one is from Quest. In the Quest poll, right, the voting intention for president in the first round, Lula has 37%, Flávio Bolsonaro has 32%, Ronaldo Caiado has 6%, and Romeu Zema has 3%. I didn't mention the others since they had even less, so I didn't include them. Here, the margin is already 1. It's so big that there might not even be a second round, right? It's already 37% and 32%. And in the second round, here, according to Quest, it's statistically tied, right? Flávio has 42% and Lula has 40% of the votes. Did you understand what I just said to you? I'll repeat. With this poll here, I'll repeat what I just said. In this poll, Flávio Bolsonaro beats Lula in the second round. And I'll repeat what I said. It's easier for Lula to win in the first round than in the second, because of the makeup of all the other candidates, and they're all on the right or far right. If there's a second round, the tendency is to support Flávio. But if a good job is done, Lula could win in the first round. And it's obvious that Lula has to start working behind the scenes, already considering the possibility of a second round of what? Alliances. Alliances, okay? So here in the Quest poll, Lula wins in the first round and loses in the second round by 2 percentage points. This here, within the margin of error, is a statistical tie. But whether we like it or not, it has to be carried out. It has to be taken seriously. Why is that? To do a good job. I'm not going to include here, for example, research from Parana Pesquisa. I'm not going to do that. Parana Pesquisa is paid for by the PL, so you can't really take it seriously, right? But polls like this, we have to take seriously, even to adopt the right strategies, pick up on the right signals, and adopt the right strategies. And in my view, the most appropriate strategy today is to focus on the first round to win in the first round. And for that, play the right game so that others go after your real opponent, who isn't Lula in the first round, but Flávio Bolsonaro. All right? So this one is Quest, and there's Nexus. Nexus also released a poll. According to the Nexus poll, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva gets 41% of the vote in the first round. And Flávio Bolsonaro gets 36% of the votes, Romeu Zema, 4%, Ronaldo Caiado, 3%, and Renan dos Santos here ties with Ronaldo Caiado. Look at that, right? In the Quest poll, Renan dos Santos leads Caiado. And he surpasses Zema too. Why? Exactly because he adopted the strategy of mainly attacking whom? The runner-up, which is Flávio Bolsonaro. He already cracked the code. And in the second round, according to the Nexus poll, look here, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva wins with 46% of the votes and Flávio Bolsonaro with 45% of the votes in the second round. And what does this mean? This is a statistical tie.
This is a statistical tie.
So notice that Lula's vote difference in the first round is much bigger than the vote difference in the second round. The risk in the second round is higher than in the first. So the first risk is Lula winning in the first round. And in the second round, the risk is Lula losing. That's what the polls are showing. That's why I reiterate, and I know I'm being annoying, the right strategy is necessary. Lula has to work to try to win in the first round. Making the right plans and strategies so that things heat up among the candidates who want to go to the second round. To take votes. Votes from whom? From the runner-up, who is Flávio. And that way Lula might be able to pull ahead. If it goes to the second round, the fight is going to be tough. Thank you. Because the tendency of the other candidates is to support Flávio. But I know that Lula is already working on this possibility so that he doesn't lose support from his base. And all of this that I'm explaining here so that the Bolsonaro supporters can succeed, they are in a complicated situation. Why? Because they have to sell the image that he is moderate. Thank you. Because the extremist votes go to Flávio. The extremist votes go to Flávio. There's no getting around it. The far-right votes go to Flávio. Nevertheless, I believe that Renan is taking votes away from Flávio. That's why Renan is rising. Renan has gone up. He's taking votes from Flávio Bolsonaro and also from Ronaldo Caiado. Okay? But Flávio, just with the extremists, it's not enough. Flávio, he needs to get some of the right-wing votes. And also mainly from the center. So he sometimes sells the idea of being moderate. He's making some little family man videos where his wife says, oh, now Flávio is a moderate and so on. He himself has already said that he's an improved Bolsonaro 2.0 who got vaccinated. Exactly, because the way things are, he can't beat Lula. He needs to win over more moderate voters. Then when Folha de São Paulo revealed that they had access to part of Flávio's government program, it was Folha de São Paulo that revealed, saying that Flávio would bring in a new pension reform if he won the election. He was going to come with measures that would make workers' lives even harder, a fiscal squeeze on the backs of workers, retirees, and pensioners. In short, that's what Folha revealed, including who is orchestrating the whole campaign as well, Senator Rogério Marinho of the PL, a Bolsonaro supporter. That was really bad for Flávio, so much so that Flávio came out and made a video, which I showed you yesterday, from Flávio, saying that this is a lie from the leftists, from the PT supporters, even though we weren't the ones who revealed this, it was Folha de São Paulo. And as far as I know, Folha de São Paulo is right-wing. It was never left-wing. It never was. Folha de São Paulo revealed this. Then you say, Andre, but why did Folha de São Paulo, which is right-wing, do this? Simple. The right-wing crowd, the ones who support democracy, and the center doesn't want Flávio Bolsonaro either. Why, Andre? But they don't want Lula either. So we have to stay alert to that. Why don't they want Flávio Bolsonaro? Because they know that Flávio Bolsonaro has baggage. He's dirty. It's about the Rachadinha scheme. He's involved with militias. And everyone knows that Flávio has no control. Just like Bolsonaro never had. Back in 2018, the right-wing crowd, the corporate media and all, supported Bolsonaro, thinking that Bolsonaro would be controlled by them. And Bolsonaro sold them that idea. But he was a mad dog, out of control. And Flávio is the same way. So they don't want that. I don't know if you saw an interview with that. What's that guy's name? What's his name? Central? The white guy? Businessman? Roberto Eustace. Roberto Eustace gave an interview, and he's right-wing, guys, businessman, rich and all that. He said, I don't want Bolsonaro back in the presidency. I don't want Flávio Bolsonaro because Flávio Bolsonaro represents Bolsonaro. I don't want that. I'm right-wing, I'm a businesswoman, I'm a liberal, but I don't want that. And why, Andre? Exactly because of this tendency towards chaos. Bolsonaro created chaos every week. I don't know if you remember. I remember it very well, guys. And I was here explaining. I just couldn't understand. I used to say, guys, the guy is the president, and every week he creates a crisis, chaos, a fight, an insult, a situation that leads to what? Legal uncertainty. That's really bad for business owners. Economic instability as a consequence. Bolsonaro caused that. And that's bad for business owners. That's bad for the elite. So they didn't have control. They didn't control Bolsonaro. And Flávio is the same thing. They won't control him. So part of the right doesn't want Flávio. And the center doesn't want Flávio either. And for Flávio to actually make it, he needs to convince people that he isn't. And his father. But then he gets himself into a real mess, because if he doesn't put his father first, he's nothing except for Flávio, the kickback guy and the militia guy. So he lives in this battle of personality and personas. Sometimes he adopts Bolsonaro's all-out attack attitude. Other times he says, no, I'm the moderate Bolsonaro. I got vaccinated. You know, I'm going to defend women. I'm going to represent the LGBTQ community. It's not everyone, but it's all of us. He posted on that side, that kind of thing. That's where the Bolsonaro supporters went after him. So he's caught between a rock and a hard place. He isn't sure whether to go with Bolsonaro's guns, beatings, and bombs line. Good criminal is a dead criminal. Poor guy, right? He should already be in a coffin then. Or if he chooses the moderate side. No, 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 no. Let's defend women's rights.
Let's defend workers' rights and the LGBT community's rights.
Let's be aware. Let's be patient. Let's have Italy and stuff. So that's the contradiction he's living through. This situation and this struggle that he needs to overcome. But you know, and I know, there's no way he can overcome this. There's no way. Why can't he overcome this, Andre? Because he's just more of the same and very little when it comes to his father. And even worse, he has a past that condemns him. How does he explain it? The whole situation he went through in Rio de Janeiro, where he should have been arrested. Flávio Bolsonaro should be in jail, arrested for the crime of corruption. Embezzlement, kickbacks, money laundering, a series of situations that only didn't move forward because of the Court of Justice. 3 appellate judges, 2 voted in that direction. They decided that the judge who broke Flávio's confidentiality, who had the evidence of the kickbacks, didn't properly justify the decision. Since the decision wasn't justified, they annulled the evidence that would have convicted Flávio Bolsonaro. And then it went to the Superior Court of Justice. The Superior Court confirmed the decision of the appellate judges. And that's where it is today, in the Rio de Janeiro Court of Justice. Embezzlement, criminal organization, militia, money laundering,
All shelved against Flávio Bolsonaro.
So here's the thing. There's no way, guys. Now, Flávio, why is he in trouble, Andrea? Because he has nothing to present. Flávio Bolsonaro has nothing to present, guys. He doesn't have a track record. That's really interesting. You know why? He doesn't have a track record to point to of things he has done. Good things. For Brazil, he doesn't have any. He was a state representative. He has nothing to show for it. Senator, he has nothing to show for it. Do you know what nothing is? Nothing. There is one thing he put effort into. He really put effort into it, Andrea. He tried to pass the constitutional amendment to privatize the beaches. That he did. He voted to approve the increase of the electoral fund. He did that too. But he has nothing to show from his past as a politician. As for the future, he's hiding his government plan. So what does he do? He dances. He acts like a clown. Then he says he's going to make a big cut. I'm going to make a big cut. That's what his videos are about. I'm going to make a big cut. In what? What is he talking about? What is his government proposal? So his past, he has nothing good to show. And as for the future, meaning his platform, he's hiding it. Maybe it's because Folha de São Paulo is telling the truth. They're right. And he really is going to push a new pension reform to try to approve what his father couldn't. 40 years of contributions for a man, for example, to retire, and not 35 like it is today. 35 years of contributions for a woman to retire, and not 30 like it is today. That was what was in the original text of Bolsonaro's pension reform. He couldn't get it approved because it was so bad. Maybe that's what he really wants to present, but he's hiding it and sweeping it under the rug, so he doesn't have a good past to show, and he's hiding his plans for the future when it comes to what he really wants to do as president. And I know that soon he'll probably present a totally made-up situation, completely ridiculous. Meanwhile, he dances like an idiot because there's nothing to show. Because of those stupid little dances, he gets talked about in the corporate media. And he even adopts the politics of Javier Milei and Donald Trump, because Donald Trump used to dance too, right? He did that silly stuff. Javier Milei does the same thing. Javier Milei also came up with that whole scissor thing. I'm going to do the scissor thing, whatever. And blah. And what is that? What does that mean? Nothing. As for an actual proposal, it's nothing. It's just a little show-off video, right? Just some bravado to post on social media and show off. That's it. Nothing more. That's the situation. Mota appoints the rapporteur for the proposed constitutional amendment to end the 6 days on, 1 day off schedule, my dear, my darling. Yes, and it will be analyzed. It will be analyzed. The proposal will be reviewed by a special committee in the Chamber of Deputies before being voted on in the plenary. Obviously, right, guys? That's obvious. So that's it. This week, Hugo Mota should decide who the rapporteur is. and how the special committee will be formed. This special committee is extremely important because it will analyze the substance of the proposal. How is this situation really going to turn out? How does this schedule work? How is it? 5 by 2. How can it be done? It's right there. I've explained everything. The 2 by 36 schedule, for example, how does that work? I explained all of this in Friday's live stream for you, okay? So let's wait here to see how this committee will be. Who's on this committee and who will be the rapporteur? The rapporteur will be someone from the Central. I think the rapporteur will be from the Central. Okay? It brings everyone together to get quick approval since it's from the left, right? There's Lula's proposal, there's Erica Hilton's proposal, and there's Reginaldo Lopez's proposal. All from the left. So the push to end the 6 on 1 off schedule comes from the left. So they're probably going to choose someone from the right or from the Centro to be the rapporteur, to bring some of the credit to themselves. They're pushing this forward because it's an election year and they have no other option. Otherwise, they'd reject this entirely. They wouldn't even put it up for discussion. Hugo Mata is moving it forward because Lula sent his bill with urgent status. And if it doesn't move forward, it's going to block the entire agenda. That's why it's moving forward now, because otherwise it would block the agenda. Then nothing could be analyzed, you know? Otherwise it wouldn't be moving forward either. So they're going to have to swallow the whole situation. Approve this mess, that's it, it's over. Why? Because Lula and the left are pressuring for it, otherwise it wouldn't pass. Plus, it's an election year. That's why it's so important to go to the floor. And the strategy of many, especially the Bolsonaro supporters, isn't just to sneak things in there, because they're going to try to sneak things into the proposal, but it's also about trying to obstruct the process so it doesn't reach the floor. If it reaches the floor, they'll have to vote for it. They'll have to vote in favor, otherwise they won't even get reelected. IBGA did a survey and more than 70% of the population supports this proposal. So they'll have to swallow it and vote in favor. So they're trying to keep it from going to the floor. And for that, they're going to add a jabuti, a rider, to try to mess things up. But they won't succeed. They won't. There's no way. This 6 days on, 1 day off schedule is going to end now. Go ahead and write it down. End of the 6 days on, 1 day off schedule now. Bring on the 5 days on, 2 days off schedule. That's fine. For every 5 days you work, you get 2 days off. At least to live a little, at least to rest your mind a bit, enjoy being lazy, I don't know. Just stay at home, you know? Yes, we have to, and that's crucial. It will only happen, I repeat, because we have a left-wing government and it's an election year. Otherwise, it wouldn't. There's also this factor that's important and should be considered. Look who's going to be judged today. Finally, huh? What a shame. As our late Rui Barbosa used to say, delayed justice is in fact a grave injustice. Look here. It's scheduled to be heard today by Brazil's Superior Electoral Court. Justices on Brazil's Superior Electoral Court are hearing the case to remove the governor of Roraima and are trying to avoid a repeat of the clash with Brazil's Supreme Federal Court in the Claudio Castro case. That man should have been removed long ago. The governor of Roraima, Denario. Fraud in the electoral process, you know? Vote buying and all that stuff. By the end of his term, Brazil's Superior Electoral Court will rule on his case. Then there's no need to judge anymore. By then, the guy has already finished his term. It's just like Claudio Castro. His case was heard last week. The week before last, he had his entire term as governor. He was removed from office at the end of his term, so that doesn't help much. It's the same with this Denario here. Look. An idea, for God's sake. Oh, representative. Oh, senator. Listen to me, for God's sake, change this in the Constitution. State that in a full court hearing. If someone asks to review the case, everyone will get access to it so that no one else will be able to ask to review the case. Put that in the Constitution, people. You're a congressman, you're a senator. Otherwise, it becomes nonsense. One person requests a 90 days to review the case, then another does the same, and someone else requests another 90 days. Then someone else requests a review for another 90 days. Then someone else requests a review for another 90 days. Then someone else requests a review for another 90 days. Then someone else requests a review for another 90 days. I said 7 because there are 7 Superior Electoral Court justices. At the Supreme Court, it continues. Then someone else requests a review to stall. Then someone else requests a review for another 90 days. Then someone else requests a review for another 90 days. Then someone else requests a review for another 90 days. Why not add it to the Constitution? Request for time to review the case. The first request is understood as collective, and everyone will have access to the filing. It will no longer be possible to request it. Done. But no. Then it becomes nonsense, see? Why remove someone from office at the end of their term? What's the point? Just like Claudio Castro, he was removed from office the week before last. What did it change? His term is ending. It's already over. Why don't they change that in the Constitution? It's simple. I already gave you the text to add. Do they really want to? Or maybe they don't, right? The trickery in the request for review. See, how much does a request for review cost? Oh, there's the holy piece. No, there's no other explanation. What's the explanation, guys? Do you have any explanation to give me? This is a shame. See, this isn't merit. No, this is demerit. This is shameful. This is delayed justice. This is qualified injustice. The guy already milked the system for 4 years in the government. Like Claudio Castro, he's already stolen what he wanted. Oh. Go screw yourself. Meanwhile, Master, investigators are getting irritated with the delay in Voacaro's plea bargain. Voacaro is like that. I don't know if I should go or stay. Voacaro said he was going to submit the plea bargain testimony 10 days ago, and he still hasn't presented it. You know what this looks like to me? Buttering up the police. He's going to try to sweet talk the police. He's thinking, guys, should I put this in? Should I put this lie here? Should I hide this here? Because if you hide it and the police find it later, you're screwed. No, because here's the thing. When you want to tell the truth, what do? You sit down and say, he is like this, like this, like that, like this, like that. That's what happened. That's what it was. That's how it was. That's what it was. Done. Now, when the person starts, no, wait, no, we have to see. No, in a little while, no, whatever. That's just a bunch of nonsense, folks. The guy is picking what he's going to say and what he's not going to say. And a plea bargain like that, what's it worth? Nothing. Because if he gets caught lying, he's screwed. That's the situation. Do you understand, my dear? And we're watching everything. Don't leave me talking to myself. Please, please. Like the live stream, guys. Are you out of your mind? Help me out and like it. Grab the link and share it around. Ibanez. Man, look for this Ibanez. I'm going after Ibanez now. He's another messed up Bolsonaro supporter. In a little while, I'm going after Ibanez, and I'll bring you news on the 12:30 live stream. Don't worry. Smash the like button, comment, and share.